Hello, and welcome to Things We Learned This Week, a show about research, facts, and combating the apparent human need to make shit up. I'm your co-host, Jacob Morrow.
And I'm your other co-host, Jordan Williams, here for another riveting episode of Things We Learned This Week.
Riveting. Stick to the edges of your seats, listeners, because you... I hope you didn't pay for the entirety of the seat, listeners, because you only need the edge.
Oh boy, I'm regretting this already.
What do you mean you're regretting this? You're not the one that had to wait an hour and a half for the other person to finish rage playing a video game.
I am sorry, okay? So, I was killing time waiting for Jacob to get off work, and we were
Get out of class.
Oh, get out of class. I'm sorry. I thought you worked today.
Nah.
But yeah, I was waiting for one of these things to happen, and I was playing Spelunky with some friends. For those of you that don't know, it is a Indiana Jones-esque dungeon-crawling, treasure-grabbing, murder your friends because Gavin doesn't know social skills and how to treat human beings like actual people!
Have you ever tried to play, for listeners who kind of know video games, have you ever tried to play Mario with two people? Imagine that, but harder.
With spikes, whips, spiders, skeletons... snakes, bigger spiders,
snakes,
and bombs. You can straight up kill the people next to you if you throw a bomb in the right way. Snakes.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah, no, it was a snake floor too. He kicked me into a snake pit and I got bit to death. And then I got some revenge. I got some pretty good revenge because I punted him off screen with a rock and he couldn't get back on screen in time.
Perfection.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. Have you learned any small tidbits this week, Jordan?
Come to think of it, I got snowed in quite a bit over the last couple days.
Too.
So I didn't get out much. I learned a little bit about myself.
Oh, what did you learn about yourself? What introspection journey did you go on, Jordan Williams?
I learned it this morning watching my research for my topic today. So,
Whose turn is it this week? I do not remember.
Oh, well,
All right, so I'm going first today, and my topic is a little unconventional as far as this show goes. But we'll get to that part. So I'm just right now want to do kind of a timeline of the history of soda, or if you're from the Midwest and suck, pop. Yes, the age-old dichotomy between people who say soda and people who say pop, and we're leaving out the people who say Coke because that doesn't work.
I mean, as long as we can agree that this is the worst possible sound on the planet when it comes associated to pop, I don't care.
You scared me so bad. I jumped so hard. What the fuck was that?
I've got a Coke in front of me right now, and that was the straw going in and out of the lid.
Oh, God. A little warning next time before you do a siren in my ear. Oh, it scared me. But anyway, soda, or just, the idea of carbonated water, was originally thought of as a health drink. As, they thought that it was kind of similar to how natural mineral water had that kind of, sparkling flavor to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the first one of these beverages, carbonated beverages, that was marketed on a mass scale was, and you might actually recognize this name, Schweppes Tonic and Soda Water.
Schweppes. That rings a bell. I don't know if I could place it.
It rings a bell. It's the kind of tonic water, I think, that my grandpa buys to mix with his vodka.
Yeah.
Basically, it was invented in 1783 in Geneva, Switzerland by a dude named Johann Schwepp, which is the closest I think I've ever seen to something actually being named after the person who made it.
Oh, you mean like Donald Frisbee or whoever it was?
Like Donald Frisbee, or like James Jump Rope. And actually, surprisingly, there's so much of this in the first couple years of the soda making industry.
Really?
Yes. After this comes Werner's Ginger Ale, or just ginger ale as a whole, which was invented by a pharmacist named James Verner in 1866 in the USA.
Now, was he actually a ginger, or is it purely based on the plant it is derived from?
Yes. Continue. I actually don't know if... Is there ginger in it?
I don't know either.
You could have convinced me that the word is just there because it also tastes like soda water. Because that's all that ginger ale is. That's all that it is. It just tastes like soda water. It tastes bad. Anyway. After that comes root beer, invented by a pharmacist named Charles E. Hears in 1876. And it was also made in the USA. And is the second longest running brand of soda in the USA.
Huh.
Yeah, you can still find Hears in places in the U.S., but it's not incredibly popular as A&W is, the most popular root beer in America.
But it is one of the worst fast food places I think I have ever set foot in.
I have never been to an A&W. What is it like?
The one I went to was in Florida.
Okay.
It was
so
also,
just like...
It was paired with Popeyes for some reason.
Okay.
And I want to say that it was probably the wettest fries I think I've ever had.
That's always a great adjective to go with fries, is wet.
So imagine a basket of fries, but you're eating it at the bottom of a swimming pool.
Oh, God.
This was my experience at A&W when I was 8 years old.
Okay, so yeah. I thought that you were about to bash on Popeyes too, and I was about to reach through the Discord call.
No, I have been awakened recently to the wonder that is Popeyes. Cane's, the only thing they have going for them is the sauce. The chicken doesn't compare. I'm sorry.
The chicken does not compare, but their bread. Oh, I could subsist on their Texas toast.
One of the 5 things they have to offer on their menu.
Yes. The other day I was at work, and I work at a fast food place here in Lincoln, but I was at work, and one of the dudes working behind the counter with me was like, one day I'd like to roll up to a fast food place with just the fattest stack and tell them I want one of everything. And I looked at him and I go, you could probably roll up to Cane's tomorrow and do that, and it wouldn't even touch your bank.
Well, what would that be? Isn't that just like
a number 1, a number 2, a number 3, and a number 4?
Oh, and then 2 jugs of lemonade.
And 2 jugs of lemonade. It'd be maybe $50, maybe.
Sounds about right.
Yes. After these newcomers, or I guess not newcomers, but old boys. After these old boys come in, we have the 3 big ones. Dr. Pepper is invented in 1885 by a dude named pharmacist Charles Alderton. Have you noted?
Oh.
Huh? Yeah, he was not.
I have
named
never been
after,
more disappointed
that it wasn't a dude named Charles Pepper.
At least he wasn't even a real. Was he even a doctor at least?
Huh? Yeah, no, he's a pharmacist. He's a doctor.
Okay.
That's the weird thing, is a lot of these early dudes and a lot of the dudes that invented the big soda brands, or at least invented sodas that made an impact, were pharmacists, because it kind of goes back into it being a health drink, as they thought that it was a good alternative to water, since a lot of water wasn't clean. Yeah. And plus, it's the same way with alcohol, that you basically have to give people a reason to not drink water. Mm-hmm. And if it's anything, they'll be like, okay. But yeah, he actually was into creating just different flavors of soda in his spare time. And it just so happened that the one that had 23 flavors in it was the most popular with his customers. So that's the one that he ended up getting a trademark for.
See, I don't know what it is, but one of those 23 flavors in Dr. Pepper makes my nose itch to high hell, and I cannot drink it. Yeah, no, it's if I drink it, it's immediately it went through my nose.
Huh. I don't know. That's weird. I mean, that could also be a thing, when you were 8 years old and you went to A&W and you drank Dr. Pepper at A&W because you're a monster and it went up in your nose, and now you just have that sense memory for the rest of your life.
Oh no, I was a slave to root beer until I finally realized that you can't drink root beer. You can't bring those A&W bottles with you when, like, after you're 14 years old and be taken seriously at a public event.
Hey, I detest that. I love root beer so much.
Yeah.
Weirdly though, Dr. Pepper owns all of the 3 previously stated first sodas.
Really?
Yeah, they own Schweppes, Werner's, and Heer's. I don't know. I just thought that was weird that, like, the 4th soda to come along just happens to own the oldest 3.
The one to rule them all.
That title goes to our next one, which is Coca-Cola, who was invented by pharmacist John Pemberton, but was not originally called Coca-Cola. Originally, it was created in the same year as Dr. Pepper in 1885, but it was called Coca Wine, and it was made as an alternative to morphine because Pemberton was addicted to morphine and wanted to kind of find a way to not have to take straight morphine as a way to...
But then the alternative was cocaine, because there was cocaine at the time, wasn't there?
I think so, yes. That's where the coca comes in, is because it comes from the coca plant. But yeah, he was wounded during the Civil War, and so they gave him morphine as, you know, a painkiller, and then he became addicted to morphine, and then created Coca Wine. The next year, they passed prohibition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he took the alcohol that was also in it out of it, in addition to the morphine and the cocaine. And that was in 1886, and he renamed it Coca-Cola. The recipe has changed once or twice since then, but we do actually, I think, still drink the same recipe that he made in 1886 today, I think.
Yeah, actually in one of my business classes at Midland here, we learned that, I don't remember what year it was, but there was a period of time where Coca-Cola, in order to try to compete with Pepsi better, they changed their formula.
Yes, they changed it to... Yeah, and they lost their shit.
People rioted, like literally they picketed outside of Coca-Cola manufacturers to get the old recipe back.
Yeah, they called that recipe Coca-Cola Next. How fucking edgy are you?
It sounds like something you do in the early 2000s, not like, but this
80s.
happened in the 1970s.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. And then after Coca-Cola, in 1893, comes Pepsi, invented by Caleb Bradham. And it was actually originally called Brad's Drink. That was literally like the title of the drink was Brad's Drink.
It sounds like Michael's secret stuff. What is this?
Yes. It's the same recipe that we have nowadays. The name did change before the turn of the century, though, becoming Pepsi Cola in 1898. And then after that comes Mountain Dew in 1948.
Really? Mountain Dew was one of the first big ones?
I mean in 1948.
Yeah, a couple decades after. Really.
A couple decades afterwards. Some other people had come in, but they weren't as like big of players as, you know, Pepsi and Coke. But Mountain Dew was invented by 2 dudes named Barney and Allie Hartman in 1948. And the pair of them, the reason that they invented Mountain Dew was because they couldn't find a good enough soda to mix with their whiskey, so they just invented their own.
Wait, you're supposed to put Mountain Dew in whiskey?
You're supposed to mix Mountain Dew and whiskey. That's what it's made for.
Huh.
Yeah, weird. But this is also still, like, in the middle of kind of Prohibition area style days, so it probably would have been a bit more like moonshine than whiskey, but you get me. And then they got bought by Pepsi a little bit down the line, and they actually did continue with the marketing that it was like moonshine with that, like, you know, cartoonish, like, hillbilly dude, like, with the bottle opening up and shooting up through his hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As concerns around the healthiness of the soda started to arise in the 60s, sodas and their companies, right, began producing less sugary versions of their product, with Diet Dr. Pepper and Diet Pepsi coming out in 1963 and 1964, respectively. Something that I did find weird was that Coke's diet soda, right? Diet Coke, didn't come out until 20 years later in 1983. It took them 20 years to figure out how to make Coke without as much sugar in it.
That's I wonder if it took them that long, or they just didn't care for that long.
Honestly, it could possibly be that they wanted to perfect the recipe. Because honestly, of all of the diet sodas, Coke is the one that tastes the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone I know over the age of 35
drinks diet. Yeah,
there's like a 1 in 2 chance that they're addicted to Diet Coke.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't mind drinking Diet Coke. Like, if you were gonna give me a diet soda, I'd rather have Diet Coke than Diet Mountain Dew that just kind of tastes like
watered down 7-Up.
It tastes like Schweppes. But on the topic of which diet soda is the best, I thought something that we could do together as a duo is in the style of We Got This with Mark and Hal, a show that I have been listening to nonstop recently. We could decide which soda is the best soda.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I have a list of sodas in front of me. And I think that between the two of us, we can narrow it down to the best of all of them. And I'm allowing you to add in any. So I'm going to give you the list of what I have right now. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind that you can add in yourself in your head any flavor variations of those. So we have the ones that I've already said. So soda or tonic water, ginger ale, root beer, Dr. Pepper, Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and then I've added Fanta and Sprite. As I feel like they are the best representatives of the fruit flavored drink and the I don't even know what to call Sprite, like citrus. Lemon water. Yeah, citrus variety. Do you have any people that you would like to add in?
So I think something that needs a little bit more attention to is some of the outlier drinks that Mountain Dew has pumped out.
Yes. So I was also thinking of adding in a couple of flavors, but I don't think that we needed to add all of them because I did a little bit of research on this as well. Did you know that Code Red was originally just called Mountain Dew Red? And I'm guessing this is probably the, precursor to Voltage. Was in, the 70s or something. It was released in only a couple of 7-Elevens. It was called Mountain Dew Blue Shock, and it was only available as a slushie.
Huh.
Yeah. So, Mountain Dew has a weird history. Which Mountain Dew flavors would you like to add in, besides just the original?
Well, I think Code Red deserves a place on the mantle.
Yes, please.
It is defined by anybody who owned an Xbox 360 as one of the best sodas known to man.
Yes.
And then, more recently, I think the 2 Taco Bell exclusive varieties need one of their own. They need a spot in the ring, I believe. I'm sorry.
I'll give you Baja Blast.
But have you had the Mountain Dew Spiked Lemonade, Jacob?
I will not be giving you Spiked Lemonade. It is not a soda.
It has cactus juice in it, and it's amazing.
It's not a soda. I'm not giving it to you.
Hey, what would you call it?
I'm willing to give you Kickstart if you want Kickstart.
Kickstart's an energy drink, though, technically.
Is it technically? I don't know. I think I would consider it almost a soda.
I'm not sure. It's basically it's a soda energy drink.
I would consider it a soda just as much as I would consider Surge a soda.
Although Kickstart may look like an energy drink, it has far less caffeine.
Yeah. Even though Mountain Dew has the most caffeine of any soda. Besides Surge, which is fucking absurd.
You know what I didn't know?
What's that?
It's meant to be a breakfast drink.
What is?
Kickstart. You're supposed to drink it with breakfast.
That's illegal.
It's
that's illegal.
Well, because it's got more vitamin, it's got vitamin B and C more than any soda you should see.
That sounds like the dumb shit that I hear, that I read all the time that's Coke was invented before refrigeration, so you're supposed to drink it hot. Ain't nobody drinking Coke hot. What the fuck are you talking about?
No. That is a sin. That is a
no
sin
one
to
is drinking
mankind.
warm Coke.
But I could see this, actually. Like, it doesn't have as much caffeine as other energy drinks because it's literally just supposed to be a kickstart. It's you wake up a little bit better in the morning.
But do you think Kickstart has a chance to win?
No.
Okay. Do you want to add in any flavor variants of Coke or Pepsi?
I don't think so. Like, I'm not one for cherry Coke or vanilla Coke.
That's where I'm thinking is I really like vanilla Coke.
I don't think I've ever had it.
It's phenomenal. I get it at if you're going to get it at a place like Sonic, because they're like made. That's their whole purpose of existence is making people vanilla Cokes.
I don't know. Like, the only time I've seen a vanilla Coke drank is with liquor.
Valid.
Like, my uncle used to do that all the time.
Valid. And then for Fanta, we're just having original orange, right? We're not doing any crazy shit.
Oh, purple Fanta is an abomination. Orange Fanta, I grew up on that. That is, yes. Just
okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I can fuck with grape Fanta. I was told not to curse on this episode, but I'm fine with that saying.
Yeah, see, I've only let 2 slip, Jacob. I'm keeping count. You have me beat for a change.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. But okay, do you have any other sodas that you'd want to add in?
I don't think so.
I looked at adding in what's that fucking dang it, why do I keep cursing? I looked at adding in that Dr. Pepper ripoff.
Doc 360?
I looked at adding that in, but I didn't think it had a chance of winning. That, honestly, you could convince me that Doc 360 was invented before Dr. Pepper and it's supposed to be drank hot. Because I don't think I've ever drank in one of those cold. I think I've only ever drank in one of those when it's been sitting in my car too long.
I think that would be like trying to put Minecraft and Roblox in the same competitive scene, Jacob. Honestly,
yeah. But okay, we've got our lineup. So, do you want me to just go ahead and delete ginger ale and tonic water?
Yeah. So I think those are really just like, I don't know a kid. Well, not a kid. I don't know anybody under the age of like 40 who willingly drinks ginger ale when they're not sick.
Okay. Valid. So we'll drop that. All right. Is there any other from this list that you want to drop? Like, just drop off the bat without any argument.
I think the next one on the list might have to be Code Red.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like one of the least available ones, I guess. The only time you see it are at LAN parties when you're staying up with your friends.
Here's my thing, though. I drink a Code Red like maybe 3 times a week. Because there's a vending machine downstairs in my dorm that sells Code Red. It's like my go-to soda.
Oh, Jacob.
I'll drop Code Red. All right. In that case, we're dropping Fanta.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good childhood drink.
Yeah. And I'm also dropping Baja Blast.
I can follow that change.
Because if we're dropping Code Red because you can't find it anywhere, and we're keeping the drink that's only sold at Taco Bell.
There were people when I went to high school that subsisted exclusively on Baja Freezes. Okay.
Well, okay. The remainers. Root beer, Dr. Pepper, Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Sprite.
I think root beer might have to be one of the next to go.
One of the next, but it will not be the next. Sprite's going.
I will say one thing. So you've enlightened me to the fact that most of these sodas have been invented for the purpose of medicinal use.
Yes.
Of all of those, Sprite holds it to a pretty good tea.
Sprite really does, because it's a drink that you can have when you're sick.
Yeah,
For some reason, that's the drink that you drink when you have an upset tummy, even though all it does now is give me heartburn.
No, you get heartburn from Sprite?
Jordan, I get heartburn whenever I look at something called soda.
Oh, Jacob.
Why do you think that Jasmine's gonna rip my ass off after this episode? Every episode has to give Jasmine a reason to kick my ass.
Oh, boy. In the meantime, I don't know, dude. When I'm sick,
All right.
I drink a half and half Sprite and Gatorade combo. And that sounds weird, but...
No, that sounds good. Like red Gatorade and Sprite, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, I use orange, though, because I'm a monster.
But it has to be used... you can drink orange... We're not even going to talk about Gatorade right now.
Even though it's basically soda.
But if you have to use it as a mixer, then why is it here? Well, because if I want... I'm talking about soda. I'm not talking about something you put in stuff.
Mm-hmm. But Sprite got me through... Like, those little half cans of Sprite got me through a lot of sick days at my grandparents' house growing up. That is a special place in my heart.
I guess the argument that I would make for root beer is that it's the only thing I want to drink when I'm having a burger. It's the only thing I want to drink when I'm sitting down for burgers and fries because that just feels right. Like the sweet, like vanilla flavor of root beer just feels right.
I will give you that. If you get a good root beer, like Upstream brews their own root beer in downtown Omaha, that is amazing.
And there is no such thing as like weird off-brand Sprite.
7-Up.
But fuck off. There's no such thing as family-grown Sprite, but there's such thing as family-grown root beer.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like, what's the difference between Barks, A&W, etc.?
Well, if you want to get down to it, Barks is just spicy.
Spicy root beer?
Barks is so spicy. Have you ever had Barks?
Uh-uh.
It's like the spicy root beer. I don't know. It's got like peppermint in it.
Oh, okay. I just Googled off-brand Sprite, and the results are Mist Twist Lemon Lime.
Oh, Mist Twist is... The fact that they changed Sierra Mist to Twist Mist is absolutely appalling.
No, Sierra Mist and Twist Mist are two different things.
No, they're not. I'm sorry. The vending machines...
Oh, really?
The vending machines that used to have Sierra Mist now give out Twist Mist.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and gas stations, like, in the, like, little slot where they used to have Sierra Mist, it's now Twist Mist.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose. Upright Lemon Lime and Hillbilly Holler.
Sprite is gone. Simply for the fact of Hillbilly Holler. And I'm looking at you, Mountain Dew. You're lucky that I'm not considering you in the crowd.
There's one here just that's hee-haw!
Alright. I'm willing to let Sprite go down.
Okay, I think it is Sprite, and then after Sprite, it would probably need to be Dr. Pepper.
I mean, I guess yeah, I think so. I think it's just because it's the drink that I've had the least time with. Like, I've made the transition from Pepsi to Mountain Dew to Coke to root beer. But Dr. Pepper was never part of that journey for me.
Dr. Pepper is that fling that you have when you're getting over an ex-girlfriend.
Dr. Pepper is that fling when I'm getting over the fact that Pepsi all of a sudden made it so that my heart wanted to reach into my brain and rip me in half.
Yeah, you go back to it every now and again, knowing it's a mistake. But
well, I guess my stomach, not my heart, but it's fine. Okay, Dr. Pepper. And then... This is the hard one.
I'm sorry, but I think Coke and Pepsi have to be number 1 and number 2.
I don't think Pepsi is number 2. Would you like my reasoning?
Yeah, sure.
Nowhere serves Pepsi. More places feel like they serve Mountain Dew than they do Pepsi.
That's fair. That's fair. Although I grew up in a Pepsi household, and if I speak ill of it, my mother will disown me.
I grew up on Pepsi too. And my grandma still loves Pepsi, but at the same time, I have a personal vendetta against the drink.
Okay, I think we can lose Pepsi then.
We'll lose Pepsi,
and then
I'm willing to let root beer go.
I think it would be Coke on top, unfortunately.
I think it's Coke on top because at the end of the day, I think you think Coke beats Mountain Dew.
I think it does.
I think it does too.
Because there's sometime once you're done being a teenager, that Mountain Dew just loses its citrusy bright green neon flare.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're in a restaurant and you have kids, you can't order a Mountain Dew and be taken seriously as a father. All right, so I think...
Coke's on top.
Mm-hmm. I say that as I'm drinking a Coca-Cola. This is not sponsored, by the way.
But if it wants to be sponsored, I would totally sell out to the hive mind. That Coca-Cola money is sweeter than Coca-Cola. It still probably contains morphine. But, okay. I do think that is going to replace our Wikining, though.
Oh, come on. I got a great one, though.
I don't know. We're at 30 minutes.
At least let me do mine. Before I transition into my topic.
In light of the fact that we just did a 30-minute section, we're going to do a Wikining fast round. Wha-cha!
Let's go.
That was lightning for any listeners who didn't have their eyes open. So, Wikining fast round. Jordan, or I'm gonna give... Wait, you give me mine. Go.
Squirtle squirt.
It's a subcategory on Nuthub. What is Nuthub? You can define that for yourself.
It's actually a racehorse.
Okay. Jordan, are you ready for yours?
Yes.
Chaitya Bhumi.
That's the dude from Avatar, the crazy old man that earthbended.
No, it's actually a memorial to B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. It's basically their Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, architect? I'm confused. Okay.
He's the dude who built the Constitution.
So, right. Yeah, I was completely wrong.
Yeah. All right. Now, go ahead with your article. That's not what it is. It's a segment. That's what it is. You gotta read off your stuff from your notepad, but don't read it off.
Basically.
Just kind of give it a little bit of a twist off your own words that you've already written.
All right, so...
Yeah, Jordan, you gonna get...
Calm down, Hamilton. Trying to read here. Let me just check the teleprompter again, and... Okay. So, earlier this week, I discovered something about American beloved actor Bill Murray. So,
okay.
I don't know if you've heard about this before, but apparently there's a thing that Bill Murray, one of the stars of the Ghostbusters franchise, Caddyshack, Groundhog Day, and a lot of other films, he has a reputation of just showing up in people's lives and then disappearing. But before he goes, he always turns the interaction into an amazing experience for those involved.
Okay. So
I watched a documentary for this. You can find this documentary on Netflix. I rented it on YouTube for $5 because I don't have Netflix. I'm a heathen, I know. But the documentary is titled "The Bill Murray Stories: Life Lessons Learned from a Mythical Man."
What the fuck is this film? I think that whoever told me that I couldn't curse in this episode can stand with me for a second. Are you telling me right now that Bill Murray is the Doctor?
I have a theory that I'm going to address after I'm done with my facts, Jacob, and that's something we can discuss on a later episode.
Oh
but
my God,
for right now, I'm just going to touch on this. This is an amazing thing. So, the creator of this documentary, a guy named Tommy Avalone, he heard about this experience, just like of the stuff that Bill Murray does, and there's so many different stories. I couldn't even find all of them in the research I was doing, which is why I only have like 10 small examples with few details. The documentary covers it a lot more in depth, and I highly recommend if you have Netflix or just some spare change lying around to watch this film, because it is amazing, honestly, the stuff that Bill Murray does. So one of the calmer stories.
This sounds like a bit from Welcome to Night Vale. World-renowned superhero Bill Murray.
It's just the dude is amazing. So one of his most common stories apparently is Bill Murray, for a couple of years, got into a habit of just walking up to people when they're using the urinal, cover their eyes from behind their head, and then just whisper in their ear, "No one will ever believe that this happened." And then he'll walk away.
That's assault. I don't care who you are. That is awful. No, thank you.
So, okay, although the bathroom stall thing is that is the only bad thing I think that Bill Murray has done in some of these Bill Murray stories.
That's assault.
Okay.
I ain't afraid to punch Bill Murray straight in the face, dude. I don't.
There's a few others here that I think will be a little bit more heartfelt. So,
okay.
There's one story. Bill Murray was going to a baseball game, and while he was outside of this baseball game, he was just kind of standing around talking with people before he went in, and he came across this one woman who, I guess they hit it off pretty well, and they just started talking with each other. And at the end of the conversation, he found out that she didn't have a ticket, and so he just let her have his extra ticket. Got front row seats with Bill Murray just because they had a good conversation.
Huh. I mean, okay. I mean, I would try. I mean, all that really does for me is it makes me, like, if I see Bill Murray, I immediately have to walk up to him and be just the kindest human being on the face of the earth.
And that's just it, is you cannot... Bill Murray, and whatever immortal this man is, you can't force it. That's the moral of this whole thing, is that the experiences that Bill Murray brings with him are just wholesome. You can't force it. He'll walk into a room, assess the situation, and then turn it into an experience that no one in the room will ever forget. And that's just the kind of person he is. Another example here is he was in Scotland for a celebrity golf tournament. He met a couple of girls at a bar, and then the girls invited them back to their house for a house party. He came with them, and then upon seeing the state of their kitchen, gave them a lesson on how to keep their house clean and washed their dishes for them at the party. And there's videos of this happening.
Bill Murray's been drinking a little bit too much of the original recipe of Coca-Cola.
And he doesn't even... I don't even know how much he drinks. There's a video that came across of him like singing in the national anthem of a country whose name I can't pronounce while drinking a shot.
Beautiful.
That was one of the stories. But another one of these stories here is Bill Murray was apparently in Austin for South by Southwest one year.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't doubt that.
In 2010, he went to a bar like right before the big bar rush when South by Southwest closed for the day.
For listeners who don't know, South by Southwest is this kind of like, not really a conference, it's kind of like a festival type thing in Austin, Texas, around like tech and music and stuff like that.
And more recently filmed too, which is why it's become such a big thing down there for them.
Absolutely, yes.
But he went to this bar, I think it was called Shangri-La or something like that, and he just sat down and was having a conversation with the bartender. And all these people were starting to file in because word spread that Bill Murray was at this bar, and they were like, "Oh, Bill Murray, I love your work. Can I ask you a question? Oh, Bill Murray, can I get an autograph?" And for all these things, it was just like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take a picture quick, but if you don't mind, I'm trying to have a conversation with my friend here." He was just having an experience with this dude who was bartending at the time. And I guess when his shift was over, Bill Murray asked the guy if he wanted a drink or two, like at a different bar, and the bartender had to go home to feed his dogs because they'd been in the house all day. And so he went home, and then about an hour later got a call from the bar he works at saying, "Hey, Bill Murray's here looking for you." And so this guy, I think his name was Tyler, goes back to the bar with his dogs. And Bill Murray's just there. It's like, "Hey, Tyler, what's up, dude?" And they had more conversation. And then Tyler's boss calls him, ask Bill Murray to bartend.
What the fuck? No, that didn't happen. What?
So Tyler decided he doesn't want to do it at first, but he finally asks if he wants to bartend. And Bill's like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And so there's a video of Bill Murray bartending, doesn't have a clue what he's doing. People are asking him for mixed drinks, shots of vodka, shots of whiskey, whatever. And he doesn't care. He'll just grab a glass, fill it with a little bit of whatever bottle's closest to him, and hand him a glass. One of the rumors behind that story is apparently he was pretty much only exclusively serving tequila that night.
Oh my god.
Like, no matter what you asked for, he just put some tequila in a glass and handed it out. But
well, I mean, it's close enough to whatever they were asking for. Yeah. And plus, Bill Murray is giving it to you, so what are you going to do?
And the final story I have prepared here is also, I think this was also after South by Southwest. There was a group of people that always just kind of throw a party to celebrate the end of South by Southwest at their house. Yeah. And while they were there, they came across kind of a newly developed indie band with a bunch of girls in it. And they asked them to come over to play at the house party, and they said, sure. And they get there, and guess who's carrying in their amps? None other than Bill Murray.
What do you do when you turn around and just like, oh, Bill Murray's playing lead guitar, all right.
He wasn't playing lead guitar. He was just the roadie. He was helping him carrying everything, but he did end up playing tambourine for the band.
God.
And so later on in this party, Bill Murray is just kind of like leading the charge, making like, of course, this guy's in the room, so everyone's off their rocker.
Well, yeah, it's Bill Murray.
The police are called.
No.
So the police get there, and the owner of the house looks at the police and says, okay, listen, I can't stop this right now. Bill Murray is in my house playing the tambourine. If you want to come in here and tell him to stop, that's okay. I can't do it. So they invite the police officers in. They stop for a second. Bill Murray is apparently playing the tambourine just 2 inches from their face. And one of them goes, "You're Bill Murray!" And they stayed for the rest of the party.
What the fuck? Bill Murray is his own self-insert character.
And that's the greatest thing, too, is, like, when he plays himself in movies like Zombieland, you get a glimpse at the character that's not
is
the character,
Bill Murray.
His life.
Is Bill Murray.
There's in the documentary, they talk about how in Bill Murray's life and a lot of his movies, there's a recurring theme, and that is whatever's happening, however the end result, it just doesn't matter. At the end of the day, good things can happen, bad things can happen. There's nothing that you can really do to control it. It just doesn't matter. So what you have to do is just make the best out of it.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's the story behind the movie Space Jam that he is in.
I forgot about that.
He is in Space Jam. He is in Space Jam, and the Looney Tunes do have to beg him to come play for them.
Wait, does he play Bill Murray in Space Jam, too?
He plays Bill Murray in Space Jam.
I can't believe I almost forgot about that. But yeah, I think that's the thing I learned about myself before recording or before watching the documentary after watching the documentary this morning, and that is I need to stop caring about everything as much as I do. If I look at life like Bill Murray looks at life, I think I'll genuinely be happy again.
Okay, yeah. Wait. Is Bill Murray the Buddha?
I have... Okay, so...
Is he the enlightened one?
We need to start wrapping this up, but I think later on in the year, I want us to have a theory cast instead of just having an informative episode where we discuss a theory.
So instead of doing an episode where we only talk about facts, you want us to do the polar opposite.
Yes, and I would like to discuss the theory of why I believe Bill Murray is an immortal being.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. I will consider it, but only if we have on Gavin as a guest and another special guest.
Probably Charlie.
Probably Charlie. Charlie has a bunch of theories that he would totally love to float, but most of them will be jokes, and they will probably be kind of funny.
All right.
Okay. I mean, all right. Stay tuned for that, listeners. If you can tell by the tone of my voice that I think that it's going to end fine, then you don't have ears.
All right. So, plugs. You can find me at Crashing Marty on Instagram. And more recently, Jacob, I have some good news.
You have some good news?
We're going to have a YouTube channel soon.
Ooh, well, yeah. Technically true, yes. Technically, Things We Learned This Week already has a YouTube channel. It just doesn't have any videos on it because I can't figure out how to do that.
Does it have my face on it too?
Maybe.
Okay.
But anyway.
Matter. It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. Just like Bill Murray, just go with the flow. Be on every single person ever's background. Would you like to tell us about the YouTube channel?
Yes. So, me and a couple friends of mine, Jacob included, will hopefully soon start producing videos on Madhouse on YouTube and Twitch, potentially. We're trying to find a way to schedule making content into our school schedules and work schedules and everything. But the hope is to actually start producing content here pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, we've already recorded at least one video of us playing Uno and dying.
Why do we play Uno at 3 a.m?
Because that's the only time that you're allowed to play Uno. There are only 2 times when you can play Uno. You can either play the physical game with your family during Christmas when you're bored out of your goddamn mind, or you can play it online with friends and feel like you are dying.
I prefer the latter.
I prefer the latter too. No, I'm just joking. Both of them are horrendous experiences.
But yeah, you will learn more here when that is finally it's finally underway.
Plugs for me. You can find me on Twitter at MOOOROW, Muro. You can find the show as a whole on Twitter at TWLTW Podcasts for fun facts and quotes from the show. You can like us on Facebook at Things We Learned This Week and join our Facebook group, which is called Things We Learned This Week Scholars, so that you can talk to other people who listen to the show about fun facts that you learned this week. Have questions or comments or suggestions for episode topics? Email us at twltwpodcast@gmail.com. Extra emphasis on the ideas thing, because you guys know fun stuff that we don't know, and we would love to learn more about what you guys know. You can find all of our sources in the show notes. And keep looking out for more podcast stuff by us as a whole. If you want to like and subscribe to the show and leave us a comment on iTunes, that would be amazing. And yeah, thank you to the beautiful Jasmine Frank for making our cover art. You can find more of her work at jasminelene.com or at jasmine.lene on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's it.
We're still looking for sponsors, by the way. If
Dad?
I was thinking more Coca-Cola. I'm not that desperate just yet, Jacob.
Mom? Money, please. All right. Thank you for listening.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'm Jordan.
I'm Jacob. Have a great night. Drive home safe. Bye.